The Dershow.
I'm glad that Donald Trump is fighting uh, in a way that is different from the way he previously fought. Previously, he was mostly on the defense. He was playing defense, and he did a great job. Obviously, he got all these cases dismissed uh, from the Supreme Court down. But now he's going a little bit more aggressively and a little bit more offensively, and I think that's the right approach, as long as he does it within the rule of law, and he is doing it within the rule of law. He's using not lawfare, he's using the Constitution to try to defend himself and to try to prevent others from using lawfare against him. And I think it's good to see lawsuits against judges. They're hard to win. They're very hard to win because judges protect themselves. And by the way, judges have even more immunity than presidents have, and even more immunity than senators have, even though senators and congressmen immunity is in the Constitution and judges' immunity is not. But you try to go after a judge, boy, both for practical reasons and for legal reasons, you can't. For practical reasons, you go after the judge. There are so many ways that judges can get back at you. But the courts won't recognize going after the judges. I've told you about this horrible case that established judicial immunity, a case where a father of a young girl, 14 or 15, was afraid her daughter would become pregnant because she was going out with a boy who he didn't like. And so he was a friend of the judge, and he had a secret meeting with the judge, and he got the judge to rule that she could have her tubes tied without her knowing that that's what was going on. So she was told she was having an appendix removed, and she got married a few years later, and she couldn't have any babies. And finally, the doctors told her the reason you can't have any babies is the tubes were tied. Then they did some research and they checked. It was a judicial opinion, so they sued the judge. Supreme Court said, no, he's a judge. He rendered an opinion. The opinion was a product of unlawful, unethical behavior, but nonetheless, the judge was held to be immune. And so people complain the president was held to be immune. Well, if anybody should have immunity above anybody else, it should be the president of the United States, who has to take decisions of life and death and decisions that involve world peace. And he can't be looking over his shoulder and worrying that what he said and what he did will come back to haunt him after he leaves the presidency. So, judicial immunity, you can live without it. You can live without senatorial immunity, but you can't live without presidential immunity. That's the key to everything successful. So, we'll know in the next few days, maybe we'll know by tomorrow, whether an appellate court will stay the sentencing. I don't think they will. I think they'll allow the sentencing to go forward, and so he'll be a convicted felon. He can try to get a stay of the judgment. I don't know whether or not that's permissible in New York, but then he can appeal immediately and put it on a fast track. I don't know if he wants to put it on a fast track. By that time, he'll be president. And I think a lot of people will have forgotten about it. But the Democrats are still going to say, he's a convicted felon. Even if he wins the case on appeal, they're going to say he's a convicted felon. I think he did the right thing in turning proactive, and I hope his lawyers do a good job, and I hope the courts do the right thing and make it clear that he can't be convicted based even in part on testimony that was based on what he did as president.